Smacking Off's livecast will be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern.
El livecast de Smacking Off comenzará a las 9 p.m., hora del este.
Smacking Off's livecast will be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern.
El livecast de Smacking Off comenzará a las 9 p.m., hora del este.
Smacking Off's livecast will be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern.
El livecast de Smacking Off comenzará a las 9 p.m., hora del este.
Smacking Off's livecast will be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern.
El livecast de Smacking Off comenzará a las 9 p.m., hora del este.
Smacking Off's livecast will be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern.
El livecast de Smacking Off comenzará a las 9 p.m., hora del este.
Smacking Off's live cast will be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern.
El livecast de Smacking Off comenzará a las 9 p.m., hora del este.
Smacking Off's live cast will be starting at 9 p.m. Eastern.
El livecast de Smacking Off comenzará a las 9 p.m., hora del este.
That's what I'm talking about. You can't let nobody else talk. He's over there stumbling over a damn acronym.
Say guy with pussy testy, motherfucker.
And he was like, "Oh, you know, they'll never be no good. They're like Kentucky or some shit like that."
I'm curious to see where all
Get prepared to do a lot of scrolling.
So it's way on down there, right?
They're way down.
What's up, y'all?
What's
Just checking
up?
off the podcast. I'm Shannon Madden. I'm joined with Doug Phillips and Dr. Balls, Mr. Robert Arthur. What up, guys?
What's up?
Living the dream.
Hallelujah.
We're living the same dream that Georgia fans are today. We're still have that one little small loss. Oh, okay, maybe Georgia fans don't have that loss on their schedule yet. Because they came a little close. I wouldn't say dangerously close, but Missouri stayed in that game a little bit longer than most dog fans felt comfortable with, right?
And I would guess
a lot of 2 and 3 stars on that Missouri team. Don't mean to point that out, but
I would assume that Missouri is the best team they've played so far.
yes, they are actually. If you look at their schedule throughout the whole entire season, it's rather disheartening if you're a Georgia fan trying to defend your team being the greatest in the land right now. See, also Michigan. Their sign stealing ass Purdue looked a lot better than Purdue was supposed to have looked before they the whole sign thing. I mean, yeah, this is a really depleted Purdue team that ran with Michigan a little bit harder than they would before they had changed their signs.
I think we'll learn a little bit more about Michigan this week as Penn State and Michigan hook up.
Yeah. And again, this is if you followed Michigan throughout the season, and you're going to negate the whole sign stealing thing. That was just scouting, is what the Michigan fans are saying. Scouting them signs.
creative
Did you hear
scouting.
about the one where dude was what's his name? Connor, whatever his name is, or Connors, or whatever the low level staffer that apparently makes only like $55,000 a year. And don't think for a second that's the money he made on record. If he was doing all of this, don't think for a second he wasn't getting cash somewhere else. Come on, man.
Dallas Turner is a big topic today, I've noticed.
And why is that, Doug?
He laid a hit on LSU's quarterback that a lot of people feel it was a targeting, but somehow didn't get called.
I don't think it got called because, being an Alabama fan, of course I watched that game, and of course I saw that play. What CBS aired that play like 6 or 7 times in a row, and I didn't see intentional targeting. I definitely saw him. I really honestly believe that Turner was excited and kind of was following the play through a little bit. I don't think he intentionally tried to hurt him, and he certainly wasn't trying to target him. These are young guys in the heat of the battle, and I think the refs who fucked up all day long, per usual. SEC officiating, it's got to be the worst in college football. And I'm sure a lot of other conference, especially Big Ten fans, would chime in. No, ours is the worst. I don't know, man. I've watched a lot of SEC games this year, and that is some of the worst officiating. And I'm not saying that this was against Alabama in any way. Alabama got away with a few things. In some other games in other conferences, that might have been called for targeting. I don't believe it was. I just believe it was an unfortunate hit. I don't know, Doug. What are your thoughts?
No, they got him for roughing the quarterback. Am I right?
They did, and he was.
Right.
He definitely should not have followed through with him and threw him to the turf, or rode him to the turf, I guess you could say.
I think what they're saying is the way that the contact ended up, it wasn't intentional. Their helmets did meet a little bit, but LSU's quarterback had his head tilted back. I don't know. I can't tell you I can't tell you what the average play that gets called for targeting looks like every time. A lot of times it looks like you're leading with your helmet. It looks a little different than the shots that I've seen of this play. He definitely.
Well, we saw it from every single angle during the game, and what I saw, I'm not just being an Alabama homer here. If it was the roles reversed, it still looked like just an unfortunate looking situation that was not targeted. Certainly not intentional by any means. Now the roughing the passer, he should have let go. Once the ball was released, you throw your hands back. We know this.
There's a whole lot of plays that end up like this where the losing side or the side that didn't get the call thinks it's targeting and the other side says they don't think it was. There's a lot of these plays.
But Jaden stays in the game. Does LSU win that game? From what I saw happen in the second half, I don't think so.
No.
The score would have been, the final score probably would have been a little closer. Maybe
I think LSU
field goal.
Touchdown, maybe.
Yeah. But but that has been the trend in second half throughout the Alabama contest this year. Throughout most of Nick Saban's tenure, Nick Saban has traditionally been a phenomenal second half coach. And his teams have always, the adjustments made during the half have always tilted in Alabama's favor. They're working that shit down to a science there.
Bob, what happened with Kentucky yesterday?
They won.
All right, so I'm doing a little scouting because next Saturday, 11 a.m., Alabama pulls into Lexington.
God, they'll crush us Saturday. It'll be awful. Nobody's got to answer for Milroe. Milroe's developed throughout the year.
Has gotten better and better and better throughout the season. In fact, I think he's kind of he's in that rarefied air past Jalen Hurts and kind of in that as far as mobile quarterbacks go in that I hate to even bring him up, but Cam Newton.
Yeah,
he looked very Newton-esque yesterday, especially with that long ball, man. When he's connected, good God.
He's a powerful and fast runner, man. He's hard to take down.
He runs like a running back.
Yep, he's powerful, man. He's like 235. He's taking people with him,
Yeah.
And he lowered his shoulder on that one guy.
And to
LSU.
think, after the first game, after he lost to Texas, which, as we've seen, Texas has played really good ball this year.
Well, they was calling for somebody else, but they were wrong. Saban knew all along. He just needed to develop this guy. Boy, he's developed quickly, so you can't really take anything away from the staff.
But you know what's got me fucked up, though? You know what's really got me fucked up? Because of that Texas loss. I almost said Auburn. That better not happen. Because of that Texas loss, I have to kind of root for Oklahoma now. And Oklahoma fucking lost Bedlam.
Yeah.
They fucking lost Bedlam.
Now, speaking of the refs, Bailey says they straight fucked them, man. Of course, that might be a homer take, but he's saying the refs straight fucked Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's what Bailey always says.
Yeah.
I love Bailey to death, but no, they fucked themselves. That was Bedlam. They should have been in control of that whole entire game from beginning to end, just like they always are.
They have to beat Texas again. I mean, I don't even think that matters.
I don't know if it's going to happen.
They're not going to get there. Matter of fact, right now, if the season ended today, I believe it's Texas and Oklahoma State.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Isn't that crazy?
It is. It is.
And this isn't an awful, horrible Oklahoma team. It's just the same problems that have plagued Oklahoma year in and year out. Great offense and not much of a defense to speak of.
Yep.
So that's what they're trying to turn around there. And Venables, you thought that he was trying to lay a foundation to have a complete team, but they shit the bed wide awake.
Hey, Doug, is Clemson Dane coming on tonight? Now that Clemson won, he's out of the woods.
That would be irony for him to show up, or it'd be something for him to show up tonight and not last week. But no, I don't think he's supposed to come tonight.
He should. He should have come tonight because his Clemson Tigers are back.
Yeah,
Tyler from Spartanburg was dead ass wrong. Dabo Swinney is still the greatest coach the Clemson ever had, and they should be lucky to have.
That's the way they acted.
Yeah,
they acted
that's
like
the way
they just won
Dabo
the
acted.
title. Didn't the fans storm the field as well?
No, they should have. Yeah, because again, that's probably the most important win that they're going to have all year. Who are they playing in the bowl this year? Liberty.
They're not bowl eligible.
Liberty's still undefeated.
They're not bowl eligible yet.
Liberty is still undefeated. Can you fucking believe that?
They got to win another game to become bowl eligible. So,
yeah, Liberty's already bowl eligible though. So I'm calling it now. That's going to be a hell of a matchup. Liberty and Clemson.
What about Liberty and James Madison possibly in a New York Six bowl against each other?
Well, they won't do that.
Man, I'm not high enough for this, Bob. Come on.
So here's the deal. They won't put those two teams against each other because that won't sell tickets. They don't give a fuck about tickets. That's not going to.
It would be a good game. It'd probably be a better matchup than whatever matchup would be waiting them for New Year's Six game.
But they'll want a big name against each of those teams.
So Liberty versus I don't know who else is bowl eligible this one. Who's headed to the New Year's Six bowl? USC? No, they're not.
Kansas.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's a coming thing, man. Kansas is bowl eligible.
Yeah, they're coming on, aren't they?
Yeah, they did. They came all over Oklahoma that one time, just like Oklahoma State did. I mean, man, they just. I feel so sorry for Timothy. Is he on antidepressants? He should be after this season.
I don't know. Texas.
Because this is a really bad. This is a tough one. If you're an Oklahoma fan, the highs and lows that he's had to endure this year, it's tough.
Texas just about hooked their horn up their own ass yesterday.
They did.
But
that's what I'm saying. I need them to be strong. I need them to hold strong and win the Big 12 because we're playoff bound. Because there is a chance. I still think one loss. It's looking this way that a one loss team's going to get into the playoffs. Obviously.
Well, I think I know what you're hoping for, Shannon. You're hoping for number 2 Texas and number 3 Alabama to play in the semifinal.
Yes, sir. How's Saban doing rematches, Doug? Is he do good in when he rematches?
He's 2-0 right now in his rematch tour.
Yeah,
this year.
We need that 3-0.
Yeah.
We won't be seeing Auburn in the offseason, that's for sure.
Now, I will say this. LSU's offense definitely looked good. I don't know if they're the best offense in the country, but they're good. But that fucking defense is softer than fuck in the middle.
It is.
Did you see how Alabama was able to run on this team?
Yes.
And I'm not saying anything.
Well,
bad
everybody
about
has this season against LSU, but yeah, in particular, it was on display yesterday because Alabama has a lot of really good running talent.
It's been a long time since I've seen
and
Alabama.
McClellan really wasn't that much of a factor in this game. It was what was the other fellow, Williams?
Yeah.
Is it Williams or Matthews? I can't remember. There's so many of them to keep up with these things.
We got a guy right now that I had never heard. I guess I haven't.
But our number 2 running back is phenomenal and had a really good day on top of because it's really really tough to talk about anything Alabama offense related and not talk about Jalen Milroe because he was kind of a one-man show yesterday.
Oh yeah.
He should have just started throwing it to himself. That would have been the.
Has that ever happened? Has anybody ever thrown a touchdown pass to themselves?
I'm sure Bo Nix did yesterday. He did a lot of what Jalen Milroe did Saturday.
Let's see here. Pac-12 is the worst, hands down. That's Bruce Martinez. Let me see.
I mean, no. I'm not ready to say that yet.
Okay, Jay Field says no one agrees with me, but I think BV should be fired. Who's BV? Immediately. He will either resign or eventually. I think Jeff Tedford could lead OU. Oh, Brent Venables, sorry. Yeah, I didn't get the BV at first. Oh,
no,
come on now. They're not going to fire him that quick.
They need to pump the brakes just a little bit now. However.
Now, Jay Fields is not an OU guy. He probably just wants to see what Timothy will do.
Yeah,
with
of course.
With all that shit going on.
How's Jimbo doing today? How's Jimbo Fisher doing today?
See, now A&M looked really good yesterday on the road. They just come up a little short.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
Which is the story of his fucking life.
Yes. I love it. It's a great story if you're an Alabama fan.
True story. All right, you know what we need to do? We need to learn about some Bones coffee.
Let's do it.
What's the difference between these 2 identical cups of coffee? Everything. Everything. Boring basic coffee is leaving you dead inside. Thank the Dark Lord, there's Bones Coffee. Small batch, full-bodied coffee infused with the most mind-melting flavors in the world. Or underworld.
Oh, I've had flavored coffee
before.
I've
had coffee before. You haven't had Welcome to the highly caffeinated, slightly wicked, and immortally delicious world of Bones. Our mad coffee scientists have twisted nature to their demented wills.
It's alive!
With frightfully delicious flavors like from dusk till donuts.
It's a taste I can really sink my teeth into.
Mint invaders.
I don't mean to probe, but how did you make this coffee taste like ice cream?
And electric unicorn.
Like eating fruity cereal. Yeah!
At Bones Coffee, we'll try just about every flavor combo out there.
Cannolis, salted pretzels, strawberry cheesecake.
The ones we love are made into small batches, roasted to order, and delivered directly to you. But the others... Rest in peace, Beanfish. We've got over 30 killer concoctions. So French press that link to find your new favorite coffee. There's more to life than pumpkin spice. But yeah, we smashed that pumpkin too. We also have comforting classic coffee if the flavored stuff is too scary. At Bones, our beans are complex and multidimensional.
I have opinions.
Which makes for rich, smooth, jaw-droppingly good Joe. Stop drinking hot bean water and resurrect your caffeine routine. You can Bones at home, Bones at work, or Bones during your commute. Go to bonescoffee.com and check out our thousands of spooktacular 5-star reviews. If committing to one flavor gives you the heebie-jeebies, try our sample packs, a shocking selection of our most hauntingly delicious blends. Or join the coffee club and get new flavors delivered as often as you'd like. It's time to break from boring. Click the link to get yourself a bag of Bones today.
Welcome back to Smacking
Hi.
Off the podcast.
How are you?
I'm good. Is it just me, or does that fucking Dracula really piss you off on that Bones commercial?
A little bit.
Me too.
I don't know. And the fucking horse. It's like fruity cereal. That's some fucking shit.
The lesbian in the lesbian in the lumberjack outfit. I think it's like okay, we get it. You're gay. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have to go that hard with it. But then again, neither did Dracula. So.
But then the one girl comes back every time. So
yeah, and she has bones. She has bones all over her body.
Absolutely,
we all do actually.
Yeah, that's a little
I've got
known fact.
I've got a bone watching it.
During the commercial, I had a bone in my hand a minute ago.
Yeah, it work out like that sometimes.
Yeah. All right. So what else happened?
Jimbo lost. I feel like we just need to talk about that for an hour and go ahead and log out about Jimbo because that's important, especially losing to Lane Kiffin, his mortal enemy. Everybody thinks that Saban and Kiffin Saban and Jimbo got problems. No. They actually are somewhat civil to one another. Him and Lane. Did you see when they? Yeah, and they even showed it when they had the pregame handshake where they go out and they kind of talk to one another. It was the most awkward looking thing ever. It's like if I bumped it. It's like if I bumped into my first wife at Walmart. Remember Tina?
Yeah.
Who could forget her? She kind of looked a little like the girl in the Bones Coffee, except not near as nice looking. Poor thing.
Yeah, she did. There's similarities.
Tina had the nose though. Bless her heart.
Can I ask a question? Why did you call her Tina Fish?
That was actually Wayne had come up with that because we were calling his wife at the time was named Faye, and Maurice used to call her Fayo Fish.
I got you.
And so he I said something about Fayo Fish, and he got mad, and he said, "Well, what wouldn't you be mad if I called your wife Tina Fish?" And I said, "No, actually, I'm going to start calling her that," and I did.
Yeah, that's kind of how you roll, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a controversial character.
Arkansas went down to the swamp.
They did and got their third win of the year. They're not bowl eligible either, but ironically enough, Florida is.
Yeah, it's
they're just going to give up the rest of the regular season. Now they're already bowl eligible. There's no sense in winning any more games.
We got a few big games this week, guys, but let's not get to that yet. Let's go ahead and talk. Let's go ahead
more
and
about Jimbo losing. Yeah, I want to talk more about Jimbo Fisher and his sad tears.
And how about those Washington State? How about those Washington State Huskies for them fucking around and trying to lose?
You mean Washington Huskies
beating USC?
Sorry, you're right. You're correct. I was just seeing if Bruce was paying attention. For all that people have said about the Huskies, though, they fucked around for a few weeks here. They won in Los Angeles. I guess you're going to see Washington and Oregon rematch in the PAC championship.
Looking like it.
If they get
two
past
of the best quarterbacks in college football right now, and one of them happens to be a former Auburn player.
I'd have to look at the schedule, but it's possible that Florida State, if it comes down to Florida State or Washington, and Washington may get the nod. Florida State their schedule is not too great either. They had to struggle their ass off to beat lowly Clemson.
They did. Clemson is lowly this year. Yeah. Do you think if Bo Nix is drafted in the first round of the NFL that he needs to legally make sure that his name is not just Bo, but Bo Cephas?
Bo
Cephas Nix. I love it. Bo Cephas Nix.
I like that.
Yeah. He would have to, if he started calling himself Bo Cephas Nix, then Bo Cephas would actually kind of be like the now, because Bo Cephas, of course, is Hank Williams Jr. Mm-hmm. He's the original Bo Cephas. But Bo Cephas would probably kind of get a little bit of an urban upgrade. He could start wearing a gold chain.
You want to hear the most fucked up thing ever? And this is off course just a little bit, but you did bring up Hank Williams Jr.
Yes.
Hank Williams Sr., Hank Williams Jr., Hank Williams III. Mm-hmm. None of them fuckers name was Hank. None of them.
It's Henry.
Oh, it was Henry for the original Hank.
Yeah,
I believe.
Hank Senior. Hank 1.
Bocephus was Randall. And
Randy.
Hank, and
Randy. If I ever bump into him, I'm going to call him Randy.
And Hank 3 is Sheldon, I believe.
Sheldon? Like on the one show?
Sheldon or Shelton?
What's the show? Yeah.
It's one or the other.
It's one or the other. I don't watch that show.
But, hey, because of Grandpa, they're all calling themselves Hank.
Yeah.
They got to.
Yeah.
They got to. Hey, that's a birthright, and
it's
they
marketable.
can make money. Absolutely, isn't it?
Yeah. Hank has a museum. Does Randall have a museum? No.
Nope. Let's see. What
he hunts
else
a lot down here. Him and Kid Rock. Kid Rock's got a trailer down there in like Elmore County or some shit. No, seriously, he does.
He's got a hunting.
I mean, it's it's Kid Rock. It's not some little little trailer like we'd find over in Volga somewhere.
Did he have $1 million trailer, Kid Rock? It was all over social media. He bought $1 million trailer.
I'm
get
sure
the fuck out.
He's got $1 million to spend on a trailer. That's $1 million of front pocket money for him.
Are we talking about a hunting trailer?
No, a trailer like you live in, right?
Yeah.
But it's on his hunting property. That's why he bought the property. That's what it's specific perp.
If you're going to do $1 million, though, just build.
Nah.
I'm just telling you, man. He's like
if you want to go off grid and not really let people know certain things about amenities, you don't get the, because if you get builders involved, then you have to get like the authorities involved and come and inspect your underground bunker that you've got teenage girls trained up in. I'm not saying that he does, but I'm just in supposition. Don't want to get sued by Kid Rock. He's got enough money to sue me.
I want to respond to Jock. Is that correct here? Jock Goldie.
Sure.
He says, at this point, doesn't everyone want to see Washington versus Georgia? Jock, no, not at all. It never crossed my mind before.
Washington, Alabama is a sexier matchup for me. Thanks for listening.
Washington. So they're sitting outside right now. I believe they're at 5, right?
Oh, they won't be long. If they keep winning, there's plenty of room at the top for them up there with Georgia.
Wouldn't it be ironic?
Beating their meat over a 9-point win over Missouri, and they're 2 and 3 stars.
I guess the point, because Oregon lost a game, if they were both undefeated, there would be this possibility that they both get in. Wouldn't that be some irony for a pack to go from nothing to 2 teams in?
I mean,
that's not happening this year, but
it may. It could.
Or Oregon would have to win, and it'd have to be a damn close game, and you'd have to see a lot of other teams go down, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh. What else happened? Let's see.
There's room at the top for Liberty too. Liberty's still winning games.
That's right.
You were stuck on this Liberty thing, aren't you?
I'm blown away the fact that they lost a pretty big time coach like Hugh Freeze off to the SEC, and they lost nothing. Their new head coach was the former head coach from Coastal Carolina, which, if you remember, over the past few years, fielded some pretty good teams.
Yep.
Won some games they weren't supposed to. Had like a 9-10 win season a couple of years back, which Coastal Carolina's never had, especially playing big boy ball and against big boy teams.
Guys, we got some big games coming up this week.
I guess my point is that the current head coach of Liberty is probably going to be on the same path that Hugh Freeze is if he keeps them in the same position.
It makes you wonder, though. Does Liberty, are they just in a good place for recruiting, or what is it? What is it about Liberty? Can anybody go there and win?
NIL money. Come on, man. You know how much money's in Jesus. They got all kind of cash over there. I don't know. Are they affiliated with the Southern Baptists?
Weren't they Jerry Falwell University?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Jerry Falwell Jr. recently retired or resigned, I believe it was, because he was at a party making out with some other chick.
So,
which the nature of their school, that's a big no.
They're the Liberty Flames.
He's the one that hired Freeze, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
Are they the Liberty Flames?
They are.
Okay.
Which is kind of also ironic too, Flames and whatnot.
Yeah. I think Oral Roberts in basketball really missed a fucking boat. Oral Roberts the team should be referred to as the 900-foot Jesuses.
Yes.
Don't you think? Since Oral Roberts is the guy who saw a 900-foot Jesus.
Yes.
That said if it
and spawned the actual musical act, MC 900-foot Jesus.
Right. Is that the one? Is that the one that got Butthead slapped Beavis over?
Yeah, that was what he was doing. For like 3 minutes.
Goodness.
Even when the song wasn't doing that, he was still doing that, which can be kind of annoying.
We got some early games coming up this week that are top notch. Michigan going to. No, fuck them. Michigan going to Penn State is circled on my list. Even though Alabama and Kentucky will be going on at the same time, I'll have to be jumping over.
Even look, I just don't see Michigan. Michigan will have to completely sit the fuck down to lose this game, I think. This isn't. I mean, again, this is a good Penn State team. It always is under Franklin, but it's Michigan's on a different path right now. Now they don't have their signs anymore, so that the score is going to be closer than it was going to be. I can't believe that motherfucker had a costume on. What was that? Central Michigan? Central Michigan. Who the fuck cares about Central Michigan? Had a costume on standing on their sideline.
All right, so Jock,
that's crazy.
Jock asked, is Washington just this year's TCU? And I mean,
no, this year's TCU actually lost to Colorado. If you remember, there is no this year's TCU.
No, he's talking figuratively, of course.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
We won't know that.
We're here spitting facts, yo.
Right. Michigan going to roll Penn State. Michigan much better than.
I'm not going to say they're going to roll Penn State. I think it'll actually be a somewhat close game because again, Michigan doesn't have the signs anymore.
Michigan ain't playing nobody anyway.
Jock, I disagree with you. I think Ohio State beats Michigan's ass this year. I think that I don't know.
I still see that as a close game. Ohio State's not that great this year. Offense is kind of.
The CFP thinks they're pretty good.
Yeah, what do they know? They're still letting Michigan around. I mean, fucking ESPN bullshit.
Well, let's
Disney owns the CFP.
Goodness.
How's that for your liberal agenda, Doug?
Can Kathleen Kennedy fuck that up too?
Probably. All right, so let's go learn about the farmer's dog and Grubhub and shit.
Let's do it.
Hey, little bear.
You gonna be a good boy?
Don't worry, doll, about the rest of our lives.
From this day
Through thick and thin,
Come on, baby.
I'll be there by your side.
Oh, I'm gonna love you forever.
Hey, bear.
It's Halloween, and you forgot the candy.
Trick or treat!
Don't be spooked. Grubhub has you covered.
You look amazing!
It's Halloween, saved by Grubhub.
Guys, the Tesla's pizza!
We are back. Are we not?
Yay. Absolutely.
So let's Let's say everybody say hello to Austin Parish. What's going on, Austin?
I gotta go get me some more coffee.
What's up, Austin?
How you doing, guys?
Austin Parish, what's up, homie?
Made it. I made it.
All right. Hell yeah.
So what's going on out in Arizona and Pac-12 football?
Hold on one second. I'm gonna put in my microphone here.
Okay.
My headphones. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, this is professional. I like this.
There we go.
This is a professional setup.
That's why I brought in Austin.
See, Bob?
Austin's the pro.
Right there. Professional.
Hell yeah.
Hey, that's what it is. That's what it is. Well, I definitely I apologize. I wasn't on the last show. I got a late call. I work for a fire department, so I wasn't able to get on. But I've been holding this in for about a month now. And
see, and that's
I'm
a legitimate excuse. So. Dane, Clemson, Dane, you hear this right here? That's a legitimate excuse for not being on our show, not just because I got drunk and fell asleep because I'm a dumbass.
Good enough.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? Excuse me. I thought I had the mic muted.
His team's having a hard year. Just give him a break, man.
Well, Austin's kind of having a tough year himself, correct, sir?
Oh yeah, it's been a rough year on both the professional football and college football. Both my teams are 2-7 and headed nowhere.
Well, hold on now. Austin's a little bit more used to this than Dane is right now.
Yeah. This is unfortunately.
All the Clemson fans are having a huge come down at the moment.
Hey, how's Arizona looking though?
U of A.
Yeah.
U of A. I hate to admit it, but their quarterback is actually pretty legit. He's a true freshman, and he's playing really well. I watched the UCLA U of A game last night, really hoping that UCLA would smack them down on their homecoming, and it didn't happen. And I think that's a little bit of UCLA being overrated, which happens on a yearly basis, just like SC is. But if you pay attention at all to U of A, they've only lost all 3 games were less than 7 points. And I think 2 of those losses were in overtime, one to Mississippi State at Mississippi State early in the year. And then the other one was against SC. I think that was in double overtime at SC. So those were their 2 out of their 3 losses. I forget what the other loss was. I think that was, it was UW. UW beat them down there in the Dirty T, and so that wasn't
beating a lot of folks these days.
So they're playing well. I hate to admit it, but they are. So I mean, time will tell. I mean, obviously, right now they're talking a bunch of smack, in the different chat rooms and stuff like that. And it's the first time they've been ranked in I think 6 years. First time they're bowl eligible in 6 years. They're going to go to the LA Bowl because it's going to come down to Washington, Oregon for the Pac-12. SC will probably be 3rd. They're kind of be sitting about that 4th or 5th spot, depending on like how Oregon State does. Oregon State's having a pretty decent year still, so I think they're going to be right behind them, and they'll probably go to the LA Bowl. I think Gronk is actually like the chairman or whatever of that bowl game, so I'm sure he'll probably get them in there because he's a U of A. He was a former player, so.
Austin, let's look ahead for a moment. As far as the head-to-head matchup between Oregon and Washington, let's say that because it kind of seems to be on a path for that. Who do you like in that game?
I like Washington. We call Oregon, at least I call Oregon, studio gangsters, and the reason why is because they puff up their chest, they talk a big game, they beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. When it comes to crunch time, though, especially when it's a big game or if it's in the Pac-12 championship, they just can't get it done. And, that's what happened against Washington at the beginning, a few weeks ago. And I think that's what's going to happen again. I just think that Washington just has a better team. I think they're better coached. They're used to winning big games, especially with Penix. And, Bo Nix actually is having a great year. But, again, whenever it comes crunch time, they just can't seem to get it done. And
he learned that at Auburn.
Yeah, he learned that at Auburn. So, but they're doing well, and the thing that, it's going to be an entertaining game. I'm not going to sit here and say that Washington's going to blow them out. They're not going to blow them out. But, if it were up to me, if I had my choice of which quarterback to have when it's crunch time, I'd go Penix.
Yeah, I'm thinking shootout in that game. I really think it'll be decided down toward the end.
I think that's what's going to happen. So,
Bet the
It's
over.
not even going to be a question. It's going to be Oregon and Washington. Utah's playing with like their third or fourth string quarterback at this point. They just don't have enough guys. They don't have enough horses in the race. They're dealing with injuries. Oregon State was kind of a dark horse team, but they're just not putting it together the way that a lot of people thought that they would. But they're still having a decent year, but they're just not going to be able to hang. And then SC, with the loss last night, they're out of it. So it's gonna be those two teams fighting for the last Pac-12 championship in Vegas.
You just reminded me of that. And so this is the last year of the Pac-12 as we know it, or is it done next year?
Oh, it's done. I mean, it's
okay.
It's going to be done because right now they only have two teams, and that's Oregon State and Washington State. That's still technically in the conference. Yeah. They say that they're trying to get more teams in. I don't know who they're going to get in. I don't know if that would be
what are you going to pull,
a combination
like Fresno
of
State and shit like that?
Yeah, like Mountain West teams like Fresno State,
San Diego
State. And the thing of it is with that, if you want to talk about that is that I don't know if y'all know what happened as to why the Pac-10 literally just crumbled this year, but it was a combination of the greed of the presidents of each university. ESPN came to the table and said, okay, we're going to give you $30 million for a TV contract. And this is given that SC and UCLA are already out. They're going to the Big Ten. That was a given after this year, but we still had, 10 teams left with the ability
Washington and Oregon. So.
Yeah, still had Washington, Oregon, had everybody else left. And then, what they were looking to do and the talks is that they were either going to get Fresno State and San Diego State or SMU and San Diego State, which in my opinion wouldn't have been bad, but they still would have been able to keep the conference together. So anyway, they came to the table with ESPN came to them with $30 million on the table for a contract for this year. The presidents got greedy and said, no, we want 50. And ESPN pretty much said, you can go fly a kite. So that was pretty much the end of that. And just the former Pac-12 commissioner, Larry Scott, pretty much did everything that he could to run that conference into the ground. He literally did nothing for the conference. He had no negotiations when it came to TV deals with the major networks like ESPN and Fox, and all this kind of led to UCLA and SC saying, well, we can go to greener pastures if we go to the Big Ten, because the Big Ten has ESPN, the Big Ten has Fox, and is able to give them more money. So I mean, it kind of is what it is with that, but the conference still could be together if it wasn't for the greed of the Pac-12 presidents. That's basically what really happened there. Then of course, SC and UCLA leaving.
Wu-Tang, what is it? The Wu-Tang Clan. They sang it best. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, it's the money, dollar bill, yo.
Yeah, that's pretty much what SC and UCLA did. So they just jumped ship, and that just kind of caused the dominoes to fall, and then everybody else kind of followed suit after that.
So Austin, get us up to date, because let's just say that I have not read any of this. I know everybody knows that USC and UCLA are headed to the Big Ten. Where's everybody going to end up? Where do I got to find these guys next year?
So pretty much what we got going on is we have UCLA, SC going to Big Ten. We all know that. ASU, U of A, Utah, and Colorado are going to the Big 12. And believe it or not,
that's a big Big 12 now, right? We're pushing 20 teams, right?
Yeah,
it'll be the Big 20.
It's going to be the Big 20, exactly. Yeah. And then, believe it or not, Stanford and Cal were the last ones to leave. They got deals with the ACC, believe that or not.
Which makes no sense whatsoever.
Makes no sense.
Can the ACC still call themselves the ACC?
They can call themselves whatever they want to.
I don't know what they would call it, but basically they got Cal and Stanford, and that geographically, along with everything else, just
I would definitely rebrand if I were the ACC, because the ACC is a fucking garbage dump, anyways.
You know how they do it, Shannon? You know how easy this is?
Get rid of
ACC, you go ahead and you keep calling it the ACC and just call it the All Coast Conference.
Yeah.
Oh. There you go.
Or the ECC, Every Coast Conference.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, do we have any Clemson fans that are going to make the trip to Cal or Stanford for that game?
No, they're poor. Have you ever been to South Carolina? It's like one big trailer park over there. No, this is the trailer park. You drive through a big trailer park, and then you eventually wind up in the ocean. The trailer park goes all the way to the sand.
Gotcha. Noted.
Yeah, there's a lot of fentanyl in Myrtle Beach.
I have a buddy of mine that lived here for like maybe about 5 months. I was actually going to EMT school with him. He was from Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
And
now
his
Charleston's
wife,
nice. Charleston's like the only decent part in South Carolina that's like, wow, this is amazing. And then
that's
you drive out of the city limits, it's over.
That's what he was telling me. So I guess, I don't know, something happened with his wife and his job. So we wound up moving back to South Carolina and didn't even finish school with me. But he kept telling me that Charleston was pretty nice. So
Charleston's gorgeous. Very, if you love history, it's a very historical place to visit. A lot of antiques and things of that nature, but very old place. But at the same time, as soon as you get outside of Charleston, forget about it, man. Unless you're trying to score dope.
So let me quote Jock that's watching the podcast right now. He says those new conferences are stupid, far apart. Might not be a big hassle in football, right? Because football is a big deal. But other sports making multiple trips across country weekly. Yeah.
Particularly the sports that are not the big money makers like football and basketball, which further, kind of, because there's a lot of discussion about the, sports programs, and not just men or women's, but, just any of the sports programs that are basically lost leaders for the university, like lawn bowling or some shit.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. So the one thing that I thought that they should do to kind of pivot that was, I forget who it was. I think it's UConn that plays football and basketball in 2 different conferences. Well, they could do that with the Pac-12, and they could have just, obviously have whatever conference they wanted to go to, they could go there, however it's arranged in football and men's basketball. But everything else, they needed to keep that together, especially for, your women's softball, men's baseball, any other sport you can think of, track and field. Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, for example, for, I don't know, Oregon to go and play a baseball game at Rutgers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that from a monetary standpoint, from a competition standpoint, from really any kind of standpoint you want to look at, it just makes no sense. So I don't see why those major sports teams could go and play whatever conference, and then the less accruing sports teams and the ones that where they need to travel close could just stay in the Pac-12, quote unquote. So I mean, I don't think they really thought this through. I think it was just kind of like the Titanic. Everybody was just jumping off and trying to save their programs by realigning and not really thinking that through. And I think that's going to be a major issue in those sports moving forward.
Guys, we'll be back here in a second. We're going to listen about some Dano seasoning.
Hi, this is Kyle Golick, and I'm standing in the middle of SEC country. We're over here. Big Ten country here. Where do I stand? SEC, Big Ten. SEC, Big Ten. You're listening to the Smacking Off the Podcast.
Seasoning, food's favorite flavor.
Yum, yum, get you some.
I'm Joe Burrito, your favorite burrito. Whoa, whoa.
Joe,
hey.
We all know you're the best.
What?
You can always do better. Try the new Dano's Hot Chipotle.
Hey. Ooh, that's spicy. Yum, yum.
Yum, yum, get you some.
Has anybody here had any Dano seasoning before, ever?
Yeah, no, I just ordered some. Yum, yum, get you some.
You were ordering while the commercial was going?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So where were we?
In fact, now that I pulled up Jimbo Fisher on my phone and I've got him on the camera, I'm just gonna move him around like he's actually talking and it's not me. Oh shit! I gotta do the thing where it doesn't dim like that. I try to save my battery as best as I can. I'm wearing my Purple Rain shirt tonight. Hope everybody can see that. Hope everybody listens to that album tonight. It's a phenomenal album.
Is that an old school?
That's like the student section at UW. They call themselves Purple Rain.
Purple Rain. They call themselves that? Are they allowed to? Because Prince's family could sue his ass. Prince would have already sued them. He was in court.
They're the inso facto Purple Rain. Whenever you go up there,
is it Rain RAIN or is it Rain RE?
Doug, you saw that movie. Don't even act like you don't know. You saw Purple Rain. Everybody has seen. Everybody over the age of 40 has seen Purple Rain.
Yeah, but
whether they admit it or not.
He don't own the term Purple Rain.
Why not?
Does he? I mean, I've seen weirder shit happen when the U.S.
Have you ever seen Purple Rain before? So Purple Rain is not a natural phenomenon. Purple Rain was invented by Prince, once Prince Nelson Rogers.
I gotcha.
Yeah. What else can we talk about? How's Hawaii doing?
I gotta sound off on this. I don't know if this struck a chord with me, and I had to bring this up. So I don't know if you guys have seen it, but after the SC UW game, they caught Caleb Williams literally crying in his mother's arms.
Yeah, I saw
in
that.
The stands.
Yeah,
and so I'm just sitting there. And
Alabama made Tim Tebow do that one time. He was crying in Urban Meyer's arms. It broke her heart, literally.
It's a true story, really.
What's funny about that is I actually went immediately when I saw that. I was like, I remember the Tebow press conference, right? But here's the difference between Tebow and Caleb Williams. Tebow,
Urban Meyer,
he went. I think it was the same game. No, it was Ole Miss. He lost to Ole Miss that year. And he went to the podium and, he obviously owned the loss and everything else. And he's like, that was the press conference. He's like, you're never going to see a player play as hard as us and all that whole speech. And I was like, okay.
Who was the Ole Miss coach that year? That would have been Doug. Help me on this.
Hugh Freeze?
Dan Mullen?
No. It wasn't Hugh Freeze. That was
it was before Hugh Freeze.
Mullen.
It was after Tuberville.
No, Mullen never coached at Ole Miss. He never coached at Ole Miss. That may have been.
Oh, that was Mississippi State.
It wasn't Ed Ogeron, was it? No.
So we're talking about 2000.
It would have been like one of 3 games that he won while he was there.
Let me find out real quick because we can't go on without knowing.
No, because I'm curious. I want to rag on whoever that was.
So that was Houston Nutt.
Houston Nutt. Houston Nutt is the reason that everybody found out about Hugh Freeze's little dirty secret. If you'll remember.
Yeah.
Bob, do I need to call an ambulance?
No, he's fine. Right. He just he had the decongestion.
I'm so excited to hear the answer there.
Congestion.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm sitting there and I'm looking up the the speech and everything, and obviously it was motivational. I think after that speech they went on a winning streak and they wound up winning the Natty. Is that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Or is that a different year?
No, I mean, Tebow was that was kind of a steady thing for them for a while there, at least staying in the conversation anyway.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, I'm like, well, okay, you have 2 losses. Obviously, SC's out of the national championship picture now because they have 3 losses.
Yeah.
But you
have
one guy. You have one guy that went to the press conference, owned it. They go on a winning streak based off of his speech, and he owned it. Then you have another guy literally going in the stands and crying in your mother's arms. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm like, well, if I'm an NFL team, I'm looking, I'm like the Arizona Cardinals, I'm the Bears, I'm whoever, and I'm looking at that. It's like, I don't know. I'd kind of have to wonder, about his leadership abilities. And do you have what it takes to be an NFL franchise quarterback? Because you're going to have a ton of obviously, obstacles and hardships and just adversity that you're going to face. And is that how you're going to react to it? And so being a Bears fan, unfortunately, we don't know which way is up. We don't know if we're going to stay with Fields. We don't know if we're going to ditch him and draft Caleb Williams if he's available. But I'm sitting there, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if I really want him being my quarterback after seeing that. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Again, he is a kid, and there's a lot of other feelings about their where the season's going to go and yada yada, this, that, and the other. So I don't know. I mean, kids do that. Kids cry about big games. No big deal. He'll get to the NFL and he'll be able to console himself with real money, not just that little piddly NIL shit.
Well, I think he's making like 4.3 on NIL deals at SC.
I mean, Tebow cried his little eyes out. He went to the NFL and everybody saw what happened there. So, I don't know. I'm hold out for the fifth round quarterback, because that's going to be your next Joe Montana.
So let's
Jalen
go over
Milroe, I'm talking to you.
Let's go over the big games from this coming Saturday here. And we've already touched on Michigan at Penn State. And everybody seems to believe Michigan will go over and handle Penn State. I don't know what they do, though, I know Penn State's changed their signs at this point. So, I think Penn State beats Michigan in Happy Valley. I just do.
I'd like to see it.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that happening.
I think we're going to see it.
Austin, and then Harbaugh gets fired, and then James Franklin can take his job and rebuild Michigan into his.
I like Penn State a lot, and I was really rooting for them to beat Ohio State. It just seems that Ohio State is just always one step ahead of them, and it's always the same thing. Like Penn State and Michigan, it's kind of the same thing. Michigan just has they always seem to have like one step or a call goes their way, and I don't know if that's the Big Ten commissioner calling up and saying we need to have two teams reach the playoffs.
Now, wait a minute. Now, let's go ahead and get something straight real quick before while you're on that subject, because the Big Ten has stayed very extremely, just glaringly silent throughout this whole Michigan scandal. So, your scenario is usually we would laugh and kind of joke about something like that. But, man, I don't know. The Big Ten's really doing everything they can to protect Michigan at this moment. So that wouldn't surprise me one bit at all.
It happens. It happens in every conference. It's the same thing. Well, going back, I'll even tell you something that's really interesting. And I don't know if you guys would believe me or not, but ASU could actually be sitting at 500 right now based off of referee calls. One being at UW, there was a pass interference that was blatant. They threw the flag, had a conference, and then picked it back up and said there was no pass interference. And that was at a crucial part in the game. And UW wound up beating ASU 13-7. And the other game was Colorado, and there was a somewhat controversial call with a holding penalty that got picked up that caused Colorado to then they went on a drive and scored on a last-second field goal. So there is such thing, I think, as conferences defending teams for some type of benefit, whether that's we need to have them in the playoff picture or, especially with Coach Prime, they want to see him winning all that stuff. And so I don't know. I think that'd be the same way with Michigan and Penn State. I just, for some reason,
Austin, let me just tell you something. As an Alabama fan, I think what you're talking about right now is absolute horseshit. There's no way that the officials are helping teams get into the playoffs, dude. Come on. That's now we're going to have to change this to, instead of the college football playoffs, it's going to be the college football sports entertainment playoffs, right?
That's where there's a lot of money. There's billions of dollars.
And that's really at the heart of it. That's why, and look, I'm not saying that this stuff didn't go on in years past, but I think it's a lot more pointed now, particularly when you talk about the teams at the top. However, the parity of the transfer portal and NIL, and some of these teams popping up in the top 25 that haven't been there in a while or at all. Maybe that's another good thing that's finally going by the wayside, but not yet, right?
Another big game this weekend. If this was the 80s or the 90s, this would be a huge fucking game. But I think people will be looking at this. Miami travels to Tallahassee to play number 4 Florida State.
Nice.
And, that's always a good game.
Yeah, Miami looks. You never know what Miami you're going to get, and I don't think Miami.
Well, Florida State's playing some pretty good ball right now, and I just for anybody to even suppose that Michigan, who has shot themselves in the foot on so many different occasions throughout the season, is going to actually go in there with the level of football that Florida State's playing. I would be genuinely shocked if they win that game.
You mean Miami?
Yes. The U is not back, Doug.
No, I think if Florida State was going to Miami, there would be that that possibility that Miami pulls the upset, but it's not happening in Tallahassee. Pac-12.
Man, I don't see it happening down in Miami, to be honest. Not this year.
No, we don't.
Not with the way both teams are playing.
We don't get to see that this year, though. But Utah is headed to Washington. Utah is. I think they're pretty good. They're a pretty good home team. But
they're a great home team, but they're missing too many guys. UW's going to go in there.
And
it's at Salt Lake City.
No, that's in Seattle.
That's in Seattle. Oh yeah, UW's they're going to win. Absolutely, not even a question.
Tennessee goes to Missouri this week.
The battle for the second place in the East.
Yeah, I've got Missouri. Missouri wins that.
Really?
Absolutely.
Is that at Neyland or in Columbia?
No, it's Columbia.
Well, I don't know.
Okay, but nobody gives a fuck about this.
That one.
Nobody gives a fuck about this game except Gabe Griffin. Auburn goes to Arkansas this week. Earlier, I did say Auburn wins out until they play Alabama, but I don't think they go to Arkansas and win.
Arkansas is still trash, though, even though they just beat Florida. I mean, Florida.
I still say Arkansas wins at home, though, against Auburn.
Everybody's throwing a big fit about Billy Napier's post-game speech about how it didn't have the conviction that a team that just lost to a somewhat depleted Florida team, a team that's supposed to be on the way up. Our guys played with a lot of heart, blah, 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 this, that, and the other.
We had a good week of practice.
Yeah. It was horseshit. It really was. Sam Pittman's a nice guy and all, but nice guy isn't going to keep your job in the SEC West. I don't care if you're, I don't care where you're coaching.
I have an Arkansas fan that I'm friends with. He moved out here, and he is pissed at where their direction is going. I had them at 7-5 this year, looking at their schedule, and they're not even close to that. So I mean,
3-6 at the moment.
That's crazy.
With a win against Florida, they are now 3-6. Yeah, that's they're in the cellar.
With a senior quarterback like that, it's pretty decent. I don't know. I mean, apparently it was their offensive coordinator. They got rid of him and they won. So maybe that was it. Who knows?
I don't see him scoring 39 points on Auburn though.
No,
look, Auburn's not great this
Auburn
year either.
game.
Auburn is doing much better. I know they played Vanderbilt yesterday. It's really hard to kind of gauge anything going on there, but I mean, they beat Vanderbilt the way that any decent team is supposed to beat Vanderbilt.
Okay.
Arkansas beats Auburn 20-17. That's my final offer.
That's just some Auburn hate. I think it will be a low scoring affair. I really do. They will not score 39 points on Auburn. Bet your ass on that. Auburn's got a good defense.
Not a lot left on the games here, but USC going to Oregon is interesting.
Oregon's going to win.
Yes,
I think so too. USC seems to come up short in all these kind of games. So
they don't have a defense. I don't care if they fire Grinch or whatever. They haven't proved at all that they can stop anybody. I mean, Cal put up, I think, 49 points on them. They beat Cal by 1 point, and Cal's on the bottom part of the Pac-12.
Yeah, that's
nuts. There's no way. I mean, Oregon's playing good ball, and they're going to beat them, but. Yeah, I don't see USC going in there and winning after that game.
All right, so I got a message for you, Austin, from Bruce Martinez, who was watching the podcast, and he says, Austin, the officials have screwed every team. We had a holding call in the end zone on ASU, so please give me a break.
Yeah, but I mean, Austin is coming at you from the stance of a Arizona State fan. I mean, come on, Bruce, act like you've been here. Well, y'all hadn't been here in a while.
Well, the thing of it is, it's a complete rebuilding year, and I have a question for you guys on Arizona State, just as a general question too. But it's really true. If you watch them play, besides that Fresno State debacle, they've been playing actually really well with second and third string players. I mean, I don't know if anybody really understands or follows Arizona State or not,
Austin,
even remotely. But
Austin,
they got
real quick, did you remember the quarterback that y'all had? I believe it was last year that came from Alabama. I think
it's been a little bit longer than since last year.
It may have been year before last.
Oh, it was. It wasn't it. Bear Bryant's like nephew or something.
Something like that. Is actually his dad played for Georgia. I did the plumbing work on his dad's house, and the contractor that was there before us actually burnt that house to the ground.
Oh my god!
Like a whole big thing. Yeah, but during the course of the job, he's like, "Yeah, my son plays football for start as a quarterback for Arizona State." And I was like, "Shut the hell up, really?"
It was.
I went and Googled it.
It was
the guy's name.
It was like he was in like some relation to Bear Bryant. And he was here for a year, and then he transferred out because of obviously just the huge mass exodus with Herm.
What's his name, Tyson?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
No, it wasn't Tyson. It was somebody else.
Okay, well, he's talking about Tyson. He was there too, I think.
Hang on.
He was there.
His name in a minute.
So was Blake Barnett.
Oh yeah, Blake Barnett.
ASU. He was there for like a year. But the question I have for you guys actually is, so there's a lot of like recruiting violations going on. Like Tennessee got hit, LSU got hit, and it was like immediate. Like the NCAA came down and just said, okay, we're finding this amount of money or whatever it was. I forget what the recruiting violations specifically were, but it came rather quickly. With ASU, the problem, I kind of feel that the NCAA is kind of putting ASU in this holding pattern and kind of giving them the death penalty without giving them the death penalty. And I'm going to explain why. It's been 3 years, and they got in trouble real quickly, not to make a long story short. They had recruiting violations because they weren't supposed to have anybody on campus during the COVID scare, right? Well, they had recruits on campus. They got caught. And so that's why, ASU is in the state that they're in, is because Herm didn't do his due diligence and let his assistant coaches run stuff.
It's got the same problem going on, except I think he was visiting recruits, right?
I don't remember, but we actually had.
But it was around COVID. Yeah, it's about the COVID thing.
Yeah, they had recruits on campus. Okay, we violated a rule. Absolutely, we're going to get penalized. But still to this day, it's been 3 years, and they still haven't made a decision. So the AD in all his infinite wisdom decided, okay, we're going to go ahead and place a bowl ban on ourselves. And that should fix everything, right? Because we have no more of the coaching staff left because either they were fired or resigned. We have no more of our starters who are playing for major programs and great programs. So we have no talent left. So I mean, it's essentially like we're suffering the consequences obviously right now. So I just don't know what's taking it so long and why the NCAA is picking them in this holding pattern. And I'm not sitting here and saying that ASU is just like LSU, because we're not. But I'm just wondering why it's taking so damn long, because it's hindering the current coach now on getting recruits. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I think they do that too a lot. That's happened a lot. I mean, it's called the black cloud of the NCAA, and it hangs over you and it fucks everything up, and they take their sweet time.
Yeah, but it's not really that big of a deal anymore, though. I mean, and that's the thing.
They don't have the power that they don't have the power they used to have. I mean,
LSU, Michigan, these larger programs have pretty much taught everybody in the nation how to deal with this shit and just throw up both middle fingers and lawyer up. I mean, that's all you can really do. And the lawyers, now that you've got a whole army of lawyers that are seasoned veterans against the NCAA in court, I mean, that's just the way of the world. NCAA is this old hag now.
So Austin, Bruce said he didn't have any problem with what you were saying. His gripe was with the officials.
Oh, gotcha.
So he just wanted to make sure that you knew that.
Yeah, and if you didn't bump into him in the street, you'd whoop his ass. That's what that's about.
Gotcha.
He's an older guy.
All right. So anybody got anything to add?
No, I think this is it. I think this has been an absolute wonderful show. And of course, the most important thing, and I think we really need to focus on this as we in this show is Jimbo and Jimbo's loss and Jimbo's many, many losses that he's going to endure for the remainder of the season.
Jimbo and the people watching who commented, appreciate you, and hope to see you here next week.
All right.
Bye, yeah.
All right.
It's been fun, guys.
Thank you for supporting Smacking Off the Podcast and College Football Dogs. And don't forget to stream in each Sunday evening for a live episode at 9 p.m. Eastern.